Yes, you have. The talk is about abundance. So there we go. That was my intro to my talk, abundance. So, a beggar had been sitting by the side of the road for over 30 years. One day, a stranger walked by. "Spare some change," mumbled the beggar, mechanically holding out his old baseball cap. "I'm sorry, I have nothing to give you," said the stranger, and then he asked, "What's that you're sitting on?" "Nothing," replied the beggar, "just an old box. I've been sitting on it for as long as I can remember." "Ever look inside?" asked the stranger. "No," said the beggar. "What's the point? There's nothing in there." "Have a look inside," insisted the stranger. The beggar managed to pry the lid open, and with astonishment, disbelief, and elation, he saw that the box was filled with gold. As this illustrates, we're all sitting on a gold mine. And this morning we're going to continue on our journey of taking a recess from the doom and gloom economy news that we keep hearing every day as we lead up to the election. And we're going to move into a spiritual dance, a dance called abundance. But first, I want to explore a few ideas, starting with the idea of abundance itself. And then we'll look at a formula, if you will, for engaging this divine dance a little bit more fully. So first, what is abundance? What is abundance? We've really spent these last 3 weeks, talking about abundance, but I don't think we've collectively defined it. Perhaps it would be a good time to do that now. So what is abundance to you?
To be able to do what you do when you want to do it.
Okay. What's abundance to you? What does abundance mean?
Well, my abundance is that I see other women my age who don't have enough money to buy food, they don't own a house with a roof over their head, and I feel that I have a lot of abundance. Not that I didn't work for it, but still other people did too and never ended up. I feel secure.
So abundance is security to you.
Yeah, security. Not
security. Not having to worry.
Yeah.
Freedom from worry.
Yeah.
What's abundance to you?
Yeah, freedom from worry.
Freedom
and of course
from
now recently, health.
And health. An abundance of health.
Oh, health. Well,
Yeah.
I just.
Maureen, what's abundance to you?
Abundance is being able to do pretty much what Richard said. Whatever I want to do at the moment I want to do it, being able to do it and to give and to share. If someone else has something they need, I would love to be able to do it. And I love the idea of boundless energy and health.
So abundance in all things. In abilities to help, and abilities to feel great, abilities to serve.
Yeah, to serve. I just feel really wonderful to be able to serve and feel great physically while you're doing it.
Those are great. Those are wonderful. And they're all really correct, and they're all wonderful, but there's something more. And perhaps before I say this, there's something that comes before anything that you've said. And that is abundance. And I think you encapsulated it all, but this is really a summary or kind of a condensing of it, pointing to the real point here. Abundance is really a state of mind, isn't it? Isn't it a state of mind? It's consciousness. It's not just having things or experiences, it's the consciousness that attracts the things and the experiences. It's a way of living and thinking and of being and acting in the world. You can probably think of people who seem to have all the physical things. You know, they have all the toys. They've got the boats. They've got the motor homes. They have everything. And yet they have this need to hoard it, and they live in fear, and they're constantly worried about that they're going to lose what they have, and they always keep trying to get more. And these are the people I say that their possessions own them. They don't own their possessions because they're always worried about them. That's where their energy always goes to. Or how about the ones who say, gosh, if I can just get this one thing, a new car, or a new house, or a new couch, then I'll be satisfied. Then I'll be happy. I've done that before. I've thought, oh, if I could just find a new pair of jeans, then I'd be happy. I wouldn't need anything else. You know, if I could just find a pair of jeans that fit. Or if I could just get a new couch, then I'd be happy. Well, you know what happens? You get the new couch and then the chair looks bad. So, you know, well then if I got a new chair, then I'd be happy. Well, when you get the new chair, then, you know, the rug's looking really ratty. It just goes on and on. And Rich will tell you it does. These folks are not living an abundant life. And I've been in that part. I have. And then there's others who live in what might be considered really meager lives with not a lot, but they have everything that they need when they need it, and they're secure and they're happy. Have you noticed there's some people who really get rid of all the superfluous things, and it looks like they don't have a lot, but whatever they need comes to them just when they need it, and then they release it and it goes. They're abundant because they live in an abundance consciousness. The Bible is so rich with metaphors about consciousness. One of the 12 spies that Moses sent out to the promised land was Joshua. When he returned from the prosperous land, he described it as rich in every way. He brought back evidence in the rich, tasty grapes that he brought back. He said it was the land of milk and honey. But he alone saw that. He is the only one who saw that. The other 11 spoke only in negative terms. They spoke of giants and other reasons why they should not go forward. So Moses listened to the 11 and decided to wait. For the next 40 years, and of course 40 years is just a term in the Bible which means until the consciousness changed. Moses and Joshua and the children of Israel roamed the desert, just on the border of prosperity. But Joshua kept the consciousness. And when Joshua became the leader of the people, he waited no longer, but led his people into the land, and in 3 days it was accomplished. In Hebrew, the name Joshua is identical to Jesus. Both of them are derived from the word Jehovah, meaning I am that I am. Both of them are symbolized with the consciousness of oneness, which of course is the consciousness of abundance. Because if it's the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom, and you are one with the Father, then it's already yours. So how do we attain that consciousness of abundance? I have a few ideas. Now, I've never walked on red hot coals, but you have, right? And I talked with some ministers at a Silomar who had done this, and they had the opportunity, and one of them was telling me about her experience, and she said they spent a lot of time, because she went to this retreat, and they spent a lot of time talking about the fire walk, and tell me if this is what they did with you. And then they spent several hours in preparation for it. She was told to listen to her inner guidance about whether or not to walk, and if she got the internal go ahead, because they could choose at any time without any repercussions or judgment to say, no, this isn't for me. But if she got the internal go-ahead, she was to walk up to the edge of the burning, red-hot, heat-emanating runway of coals, and she was to, 1, pay attention, be totally conscious in the moment, 2, expect the best, know that the outcome would be the very best possible, and go for it and take the first step. So those were the 3 things. And then she was to walk. So let's talk about these 3 ideas.
You experienced?
Did you do that?
Yeah, well, they do prepare you for hours up to it. There was thousands of people there, so it takes hours to get there. But yeah, no, not exactly what happened to me.
Okay.
I was standing behind. No, I was in front of Steve. The last minute I walked and I shoved him in front of me, and he wasn't ready, so he burned his feet. And then when I went across, I started to run, and I had one guy on each side that just lifted me and like carried me across.
Well, let me go on with this.
You flew.
So I'm going to use those 3 ideas: pay attention, expect the best, and go for it and take the first step as a formula for our dance with abundance. Okay. So first, we're going to start with paying attention. Pay attention to 2 things. First, to the lavish abundance of the universe that is naturally provided, which is easy to do, isn't it? When we're out in nature, it's so easy to see that there's so much that is just provided. It's been said that an inquisitive fellow decided he wanted to compute how much money it would cost a day to feed all of the birds in the world. He was a scientific type and knew his computers, so he input all this data in the computer bank. And do you know what the result was? He found that there is not enough wealth in all of the nations of the world to feed the birds for one day. Seriously, there's not enough. Thank goodness that the birds didn't know that, right? Stop to think about that for a moment. There's not enough wealth in the world to feed all of the birds. But do the birds get fed? They certainly do. The first step in developing a deeper, richer, more holy dance with the divine abundance is to pay attention to the presence, the power in this universe that is already lavishly providing you with good. To clarify your own thinking, examine your thoughts and feelings about God as your source. So Hebrews 3:4 says, "Every house is built by someone, but the builder of all things is God." Charles Fillmore, in his book Prosperity, says, "Poverty or prosperity, it all depends on you. All that the Father has is yours, but you alone are responsible for the relationship of the Father's good to your life. Through conscious recognition of your oneness with the Father and His abundance," that's our pay attention part, "you draw the living substance into visible supply." So, first, pay attention to God's lavish abundance already provided in you, in which you are immersed because you are one with it. Okay, so the second part of paying attention is paying attention to what inner work you need to do. And for me, that's what I shared with you earlier. My inner work that I need to do is to recognize in every decision I make whether I'm coming from love or from fear. Because when I'm coming from love, the channel is open and I know that I'm accepting the good that has already been given me and that I can trust that it's not going to stop. The good is there and it is provided whenever I need it. So, after you pay attention, this is a great one, you need to expect the best. And this is what was so great. Rich used to have a license plate on the back and it said, "Expect the best." It was great. Expect the best. That was new to us back then. Of course, it's been around now for a long time, but when you look at every situation and you can expect the best, it really does shift things. So again, Charles Fillmore says, "The spiritual substance from which comes all visible wealth is never depleted. It is right where you are at all time and responds to your faith in it and your demands on it. It is not affected by our ignorant talk of hard times, though we are affected because our thoughts and words govern our demonstration. Pour your living words of faith into the omnipresent substance, and you will be prospered, though all the banks of the world may close their doors." Wow. Think about the story of the woman who touched Jesus' garment and was healed. All she had to do, she had the faith. There were thousands of people in the crowd, but only the woman who had the faith in that substance got it. She's the only one because she had that level of faith. It was already established in her consciousness, and she knew that her needs would be met if she could just make the contact. She expected to be healed if she could touch the hem of his robe. Fillmore again says, "Do not say that money is scarce. The very statement will scare money away from you. Do not say that times are hard. Your very words will tighten your purse strings until omnipotence itself cannot slip a dime into it. Begin now to talk plenty, think plenty, and give thanks for plenty. Enlist all the members of the home in the same work. Make it a game. It's lots of fun, and better than that, it actually works." And I'll tell you, we got Allison working on this too. It's great when your kids are doing this, and other people in your home and even your work when they're starting to say things like this too. It's like,
That would be good.
yeah, it's awesome.
Poor Harry's 86. He's been going broke the last 50 years. I think he's going to have to go broke before he dies. I might just let him. I might just let him.
But see, your abundance consciousness is stronger than his scarcity consciousness.
I was so sick. Was it Friday or no? The day I went to, Thursday was the day I went to the dentist. I was so sick. So when Harry started this, well, you know, we're going to have to start cutting back. You know, we're going to have to start because, you know, we're going to go broke. And I put my hand in his face. I literally put my hand in his face. I don't know if you can see me because you can't see very well. But I put my hand in his face. I said, Harry, I don't want to hear it. I don't spend the money. I pay your bills. I am your bookkeeper. I balance your books. I do not spend your money. I am not the reason you're going broke. I don't want to hear it. I mean, I was that sick that I would do that to my boss.
Yeah.
I said, I don't want to hear it. And he goes, I know, Suzanne. He goes, I know that the office is, I know it's not true. He goes, I know. And he told me he knew exactly where the money went. And I said, fine. Then don't tell me about it anymore. That's how it's, you know, and then I thought, well, maybe, I mean, I didn't like being sick, but if it pushed me to, you know, finally say, enough, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, sometimes you have to get, sometimes you have to
And
get it.
if I had felt better, I would never say this because I was really in a lot of pain. You know, because I just couldn't take one more
little thing that was, it was like that. Yeah.
I don't want to hear it.
But your abundance consciousness is stronger than his.
Maybe I'll let him go.
I love it though.
I'll balance his books right down to zero.
So expect to be prospered. Expect to have all your needs, wants, desires taken care of. Of desires, Fillmore says, desire is the onward impulse of the ever-evolving soul. So our desires are good because that means that we're evolving. That means that we're growing. It builds from within, outward, and carries its fulfillment with it as a necessary corollary. The last thing my friend told me that she was to do when she was guided to walk on the fire was to say, go for it, take the first step. So there she was standing at the edge of the burning red-hot, heat-emanating runway of coals, and it was really a bit of a scary thing for her. She told me, she said she was really frightened. Now, this wasn't I have to tell you this wasn't just any retreat where they were fire walking, you know, was one of their activities. This was a retreat that was put on by Edwin Gaines, the author of this.
That was Tony Robbins.
Yeah, this was.
I better with Edwin Gaines.
This was Edwin Gaines, our author of 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. And Edwin had said something to her during the preparation time, and to those that would be doing this, that was really profound. She said that just because they'd received the internal guidance to walk didn't mean the fear would necessarily go away. Now that's huge. You know, you think sometimes, well, if I get this inspiration from Spirit to do something, I won't be afraid. But that, she said, that isn't necessarily
You're
it.
not afraid to do something.
It means that you feel the fear and do it anyway. And fear, she said, could feel like an impenetrable wall. But it really isn't a wall. It's more like a membrane, like a bubble, that, you know, all you have to do is penetrate it and go for it and take that first step. And that's just what my dear friend did. She received clear guidance to walk in the fire, yet as she stood at the edge of the fire walk, she said there felt like there was a wall right there, because I think our human instincts kind of kick in. But she took a deep breath and said, pay attention, expect the best, and go for it and take that first step. And she broke through the wall and she found out that Edwin Gaines was right. Who knew, right? It was just a membrane, and she defied physical laws and she walked on fire. In that moment, she experienced freedom. She experienced freedom from fear. I mean, what a gift. That's huge. And she knows now that having walked on fire, she can do anything that she chooses. I've never walked on fire yet. That may be an experience that I have. But I've challenged myself in my fears in other ways. And, you know, when I think back on this, part of it was I didn't know any better, but the gifts were still there. I spent weeks during my summers as a kid, from age 14 to 21, backpacking through the Sierras with just what I could carry on my back. Now, no cell phones, no emergency contact. You're just out there, you prepare, you have your water, you have your shelter, you carry everything you have, and you plan your meals. And a couple of times we planned meals for fish that we would catch, but if you didn't catch them, I mean, that's trusting that you're going to catch those fish to eat them. And, you know, when I think back on that, I lived with what I had on my back. And what is it I think I need out here? Oh, I have to have this and I have to have that to be happy. You know, it was such a realization that I can be happy with very, very little. And everything was already there, and it was wonderful. So, you know, it showed me really that I could survive on way less than I thought I needed. Isn't it funny how we add all that stuff that we think we need to have? It was very empowering. And it taught me to really appreciate all the things that I have in my daily life. Seriously, fresh food, oh my goodness. You know, after eating dried food, toilet paper. You just do not want to run out of toilet paper in the backcountry. A bed, whew, I'll tell you, sleeping on a mat this thick, that doesn't do a lot for you. And bathrooms, washer dryer, you know, washing your clothes and hanging them out to dry and wearing them on the, these are luxuries. So you may not have ever walked on fire or lived a week hiking through the wilderness, but I'll bet you walked through fire in your life, haven't you? Something that seemed impossible to live through, something that was pretty awful, and yet you got through it by going for it and taking the first step. And once you took that first step, you kept going. You know, remember the saying that you know, if you're going through hell, don't stop and build a condo. It's, you know, that's, you keep going.
Walking through hell, keep walking.
Yeah, keep walking, don't stop and build a condo. Yeah, that was our dear Reverend Costa's moment that he always shared at Asilomar. We must all continue to move forward in life, taking that first step and then the next first step and then the next. And what you can know is that God is holding your hand the whole way. The universe conspires to support you and bring you your good. Or as I said last week and maybe the week before, God's got your back. God's got your back. So to summarize, we must first develop a consciousness of abundance, and then pay attention to God's lavish abundance everywhere. I suggest writing down 5 or more things that you're grateful for every day at bedtime. I think Oprah suggested this. If you need a jump start, just, you know, it's really a great way to just sit down and do 100. Think of 100 things you're grateful for and just write them. And you'll find that, gosh, you keep going, even past 100. It's amazing. I'm grateful for being able to breathe. I'm grateful for my husband. I'm grateful for my children. I'm grateful for my home. I'm grateful for my church. I'm grateful for my community. It's just so easy. And, you know, it's amazing. And then pay attention to what comes up. Your inner work that needs to be done. Where you expect the best, even if it isn't the best. It isn't finished. Break through the membrane of fear by going for it and taking that first step. Charles Fillmore says, this is the 23rd Psalm Revised, which is kind of, the Lord is my banker, my credit is good. He maketh me lie down in consciousness of omnipresent abundance. He giveth me the key to his strong box. He restoreth my faith in his riches. He guideth me in the paths of prosperity for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk in the very shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy silver and thy gold, they secure me. Thou preparest a way for me in the presence of the collector. Thou fillest my wallet with plenty. My measure runneth over. Surely goodness and plenty will follow me all of the days of my life, and I shall do business in the name of the Lord forever. Now that is a dance I can get into. And so it is.